You ain't nothing but a hellhound. You ain't nothing but a hellhound. I was thinking about that old song, You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog, because our guest here to kick off yet another action-packed week here of wrestling coverage on Sportswire Radio is the hellhound of nonstop action wrestling. And he's got a lot to say, a lot on his plate, a lot on his mind here. He's going to be a huge part of things, undoubtedly, for Fire and Gold upcoming August the 13th. And we just saw him in the ring not too long ago against Connor Cage, who we saw quite a bit this past weekend. I know he's got a thing or two to say about that, plus much, much more. And I'm looking forward to getting his journey into professional wrestling and asking him some other things here as well. So with that, further ado here on the Sports Report. Number one, level Sports Up, pro wrestling star here from Nonstop Action Wrestling. That's Dante Okara. My friend,
Love
how
it.
you doing?
I'm doing good. Awesome intro. I'm doing good. It's absolutely roasting here in the UK.
We're about to join you in New York. I can tell you that we're about to get the weather that you have here. So
you are gonna hate it.
Well, I be honest, as somebody who, before we get to you and everything else we're going to talk about, as somebody who does work outdoors, as much as I hate the heat, I would still prefer it rather than walking in like 2 feet of snow. So I'll say that I'll take this over the snow and rain, but it's definitely going to test my limit. So we'll see how I feel a week from now. But my friend, it has been a tremendous honor to be able to follow your journey and be able to follow everybody else's journey here in Nonstop Action Wrestling. And I know we were supposed to actually have you on a couple of weeks ago on the 4th of July and have some early fireworks with you here about everything else going on, but we certainly waited. It's going to definitely be worth the wait here. So I got to ask you, though, I mean, set the tables on our audience here watching and listening to this on Sportswire Radio. And what kind of wrestler that they can see going forward in Dante Okara?
Well, as for what kind of wrestler? The audience at a lot of NSAW Asylum shows have been chanting something interesting. They've been chanting sick and twisted. Basically, if they want me to be sick and twisted, I'm going to give them sick and twisted.
Sick and twisted. I mean, is it sick and twisted for a reason? Is there a justifiable reason as to why you might be sick and twisted, according to those in Nonstop Action Wrestling?
I mean, you've seen the Asylum match with Connor Cage. You saw
I sure have.
So I might have got screwed over, but I made sure he felt every inch of pain.
You definitely did make him feel some pain, to say the least, and I have some comments from the locker room I'll get to in a second, but let's talk about that match here, because obviously we'll get into your story. We'll get into more of that here in a little while, but I mean, obviously that match here, certainly questionable ending. It did seem like, for all intensive purposes, you had Connor Cage beat. I would say for about 2/3 of the match, you pretty much were in firm control. So, I mean, for those that might have watched, or some who might have not watched yet, but will on the Nonstop Action Wrestling YouTube page, I mean, what happened at the end of the match?
As I put on social media, it was the Swinton screw job. I was on top the entire time. I had him right where I wanted him. And you saw, everyone who saw the match saw, everyone who's seen the images on social media have seen, my hand was underneath that rope as the referee counted to 3. I was screwed by NSAW management because I am not their golden boy. I am not their choice. But that's fine. That's fine. They want me to take opportunities. I'll take them by force if I have to.
All right, so we'll get to a few comments in a second. I promise. We have some of your brethren, some of your foes, obviously in nonstop action wrestling, but when it comes to all that, it reminds me a little bit where you see matches sometimes and the referee restarts it because a foot in the rope, a hand is on the ropes in your case. And famously, a few weeks ago, the BTW World Championship between Bentley and Rarebit was restarted because Rarebit's leg was on the ropes and they wound up actually catching it and they restarted the match. So, I mean, why do you think then that the match wasn't restarted from your vantage point? Why do you think that the referees didn't
It's
restart it?
simple. It's simple. The match wasn't restarted just because I am not their golden boy. I'm
Mm.
not Connor Cage. But that's fine. That's fine. Connor Cage can take every handout he wants. He can take every handout management give to him. End of the day, I know what happened. The fans know what happened. And I'm the better competitor. He cannot beat me clean.
But he did get the win, and let me get to a few different comments in here because I'm a little behind. Obviously, your brethren in the swarm, Tyler Murphy, says he got screwed. Tell him, Dante. Actually, kind of piggybacking off the whole Connor Cage situation, I have a good one here.
Mhm.
Great match between you and Connor, which it was. There was no question. It was a great match, and certainly you and Connor are great wrestlers. No question about that. But I mean, I have to ask the question that I'm sure Joshua Snow and Mixed Knights and everybody else in management might want to hear, or maybe they might have a say in. Is there any plans for a rematch?
If management want to feed me Connor Cage once again, I'm all down for that. If they want to protect Connor and keep him away from me, that's fine too. I will have a rematch when I choose. I do not need approval to beat someone.
Hmm. Interesting. And we see here Jenny Hayes was with us on Wednesday. Huge shout out to the Rock Idol of the UK. She's got the eyeball emoji. We see here Supersonic Sammy Blue, by the way, got a huge win in the NSAW Showcase match and also was a part of the Rumble. And I have another one here, which we'll get to. I'm going to get to that in a little while here. Thought I have seen you at GTM numbers. I'll get to that. We'll definitely get to that in a little while. But I want to piggyback still on this because you said something about Connor Cage that I'm sure you've heard from some wrestlers in the locker room that have come on here on Sportswire Radio, whether it's a disciple, whether it's certainly the lawman Kyle Kennedy, and many others in the locker room have said that Connor Cage is a perceived golden boy who has favoritism toward him. There have been some in the locker room that have said that. So I ask you this question because you were just in the ring with them, obviously questionable ending. But I mean, why do you think it's been then that Connor Cage is this perceived golden boy, and he's gotten maybe to some kind of an unfair boost maybe to his career so far?
Oh, I'll give Connor all the respect in the world. He is a tremendous athlete, no doubt, hands down. I'm big enough to admit that. But he has received handout after handout since day one. I mean, I can only really think of one time Connor Cage was handed a loss at NSAW, and that was at the first Christmas Carnage showcase, where he was pretty much decapitated by Drac Cross.
Yeah, no question about that. But I do have to get to management here, and that's from Mixed Knights, who was with us last week and certainly had a huge announcement, spoke about many other things here with Mixed Knights. And Mixed Knights ask you, have you ever considered that your incessant rule breaking is the reason for your failure to progress? Would you like to comment on that?
Hey. As the late great Eddie Guerrero said, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. It's only illegal if you get caught. I have not been caught. So, by rights, I've done
But
nothing wrong.
I have to jump in. Do you think what we just heard from management just there, that because you have been seen now by some as a rule breaker, that maybe that's why they overlooked the
Hey,
decision and didn't reverse it? Do you think that's a possibility?
look at some of the what management referred to as lawbreakers in the past. You've got Shawn Michaels in the 90s. You've got Chris Jericho. You've got
He's still
MJF.
breaking rules, Chris Jericho. And he's breaking rules with his hairline right now. So, I mean,
You got MJF. You got CM Punk in 2011.
yep.
I mean, these guys broke the rules,
The
but
Shield. It's a long list of people.
exactly, but they proved how good they are. I have done just that. With the little chances I have been given, I have proven how good I am in that ring. Yet management continue to overlook me.
Why do you think that is from your vantage point, that management has overlooked you?
Because they're scared. Because they know I am outspoken. I will say it how it is, and they are scared how I will make them look.
What makes you different then from, let's say, the lawman Kyle Kennedy, who's had some of these same criticisms about management? But some may say, well, he has mixed knights in his corner. He has some backing. So what makes you different then from, let's say, a lawman Kyle Kennedy on some of these claims?
The difference between me and Kyle Kennedy is I do not claim to be a lawman, and I do not need a rub from management.
Mm.
I do
Okay.
not need the help of mixed knights to get to where I am.
All right, so let me get to a bunch of comments because I got to do my job and let the people speak. And that is your brethren in the swarm. Tyler Murphy says Conor Cage has too many handouts. He's out of line. He might be a great wrestler, but his ego has him blinded. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins a title soon, as it will be given to him. We have to pick up the scraps. We can't get anything done in the shadows. Then we've got Supersonic Sammy Blue, who again got a huge win in the showcase match. I'd rather lose honorably than cheat to win, and I'm sure Connor would agree. In that squared circle, it's all about respect. Mixed Knights being thrown around by MC2 is not proving yourself. Keep trying, puppy. All right, so let's go and respond first to Mixed Knights on here. Being thrown around by old school MC2, obviously, famously was the trainer here of Nonstop Action Wrestling. Saw him also on commentary for GTM, but what's your thoughts on this comment first before I go back to some of the others?
That's an interesting comment. Basically, I have all the respect in the world for MC2.
Okay.
Great
That's
guy.
fair.
And if management want me to go out there and get whooped by MC2, I'm going to go out there and get whooped by MC2.
Right.
But just for them to use that and not give me any opportunities when I am a company man is just out of line.
So if you're a company man, then why do you feel then you're treated the way you're treated?
Because I'm a company man. They know I will say yes to anything they hand me. And they think they can walk all over me. And I've had enough of it. I have had enough of being walked all over. So I am going out and getting what I want my way.
So how do you say then no, or maybe toe the line a little bit more without losing a job here at Nonstop Action Wrestling? How do you do that?
Simple. I just get someone in that ring and do the exact same thing I did to Conor Cage. I decimate them
Interesting
until they give
point.
me what I want.
Interesting point here. So what would you rather say then into the comments of Supersonic Sammy Blue? I would rather lose honorably than cheat to win. And I'm sure that Connor would agree in that squared circle. It's all about respect. What would you say to that comment from Supersonic Sammy Blue?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. It's all about respect. But you see, the difference between me and Supersonic Sammy Blue is I don't have to dance and make myself look like a moron just to get noticed.
But he did win his match, though, and he pinned Remus Kane.
He pinned Remus Kane. Credit to him. Biggest winner of his career so far.
Absolutely. I would agree with that. Definitely his biggest win. No question about it. And we'll get Supersonic Sammy Blue on in a few weeks very soon to talk about it. No question.
I watched the show. It was an amazing event and full of amazing talent. But you didn't win the Rumble, did you, Sam?
No, he did not win the Rumble. No, he did not win the Rumble. No, there's no question. He did not win the Rumble, but he did get a win, and that does mean something.
True. And I would also get a win if management gave me the chance to show what I can do more.
All right, so let's talk about that because I know that that's something that a comment was put out there prior. And you mentioned it on social media in the fact, where was Dante Okara? You know, we saw all this different talent right from Nonstop Action Wrestling. We saw certainly Connor Cage. We saw Supersonic Sammy Blue. We saw the Super Dad champ Rodgers. We saw Goliath, who I think Goliath certainly impressed a lot of people. We obviously saw, surprisingly, the Lawman Kyle Kennedy. We saw Remus Kane. We saw the head trainer, obviously, Tommy Dillon, who's a part of things at GTM regularly, and Gung Ho Muttley as well, and even old school MC2 was on the call. I mean, I saw a lot of talent from Nonstop Action Wrestling, a lot of talent. Young Horowitz was in there as well, but I didn't see Dante Okara. I mean, where was Dante Okara, and why weren't you there then? Let's talk about it.
It all falls to that one issue again. The NSAW management not giving me a fair shot. They are, no disrespect to JPR at all. He is one in a million, top-notch guy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
They see me and Tyler Murphy as JPR's boys. We are not his boys. We are not just there to make him look good. He does not need the Swarm to look good. It's like Tyler Murphy does not need the Swarm to look good. I do not need the Swarm to look good. And I'm being typecast as just a supporting role.
So you feel like that you should be the headline actor. You should be not the guy in the background, and that you're being unfairly scapegoated or unfairly typecasted, as they would say.
Oh, without doubt. I'm here to steal the show.
Well, we'll certainly find out here as we are speaking with pro wrestling star here from Nonstop Action Wrestling. That is Dante Okara, the Hellhound. Certainly, if you like what you hear from Nonstop Action Wrestling, I highly encourage you give them a follow on Instagram at NSAW Official. You can also like their page on Facebook, YouTube as well. Also have somebody tuned in from YouTube, Christopher Worthington. He gives a praise to you. Jenny Hayes also says Connor Cage really doesn't have an ego. He is one of the humblest people. He is just proud of the achievements that he has made. Another good one here. Brother, you need a moment. You need to prove yourself. You need some big wins before you're ready. I mean, how do you respond to that?
I would have those big wins if management gave me those wins. Heck, for example, the Swarm have only been put together within the NSAW Asylum one time. We've only been put together one time, and that was in a battle royal.
Right.
Put us in that ring together. We will decimate all the competition. Give us the society, give us anyone. We will decimate them all. Give us the chance, and we will prove we belong in that headline.
So what makes you guys different than the society, let's say? Because we've had on the Lawman. The Lawman's coming back Thursday with Slugger Hampton. He's got a lot to say. Remus Kane was with us. Do you feel then that in a way that society has friends in high places, whereas you guys don't?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
So how do you guys get those friends? Do you want friends in high places? What do you want then?
We don't need friends in high places. We don't need that elbow rub from management like the society have. We just need the opportunity to prove ourselves, go out there and do what we do best. And that'll be the end of discussion.
Okay, well, those are certainly some fair points. I have loads of comments in here, so let's certainly get to those. While we do that, in the meantime, I want everybody to follow Dante Okara. It's danteokara.nsaw, so make sure you follow Dante Okara on Instagram for all the great things that he is doing. So your brethren in the Swarm, Tyler Murphy says, we the Swarm are treated like vermin, but we give it our all. In that ring on the internet, we do whatever we need to do to prove it. I think he meant in that ring or the internet. Doesn't matter if we have to fight the biggest guy or the scummiest. Not many people fight battles they can't win. We do no matter the odds. Who else stands up against those odds other than the Swarm? Kay maybe got kicked in the face by Gung Ho Muttley, but I stood up for my boy. My brother, and we show so much heart, so much potential, but we are still treated whatever. I think he just ran out of words to comment. And Christopher Worthing says Dante Okara should be the main eventer, the poster boy. He is the guy. Let me get to another comment right afterwards from somebody that was on this past Friday, and he has a lot to say, and you might know him because his name is Killjoy. And
Oh, I know Killjoy very well.
I know you know Killjoy well, and he referenced you a little bit on the show Friday. And for whatever reason, I was actually going to post that clip on Instagram, but I couldn't find it. For whatever reason, I unfortunately couldn't find it. But we figured we tagged you anyway on the Remus came, which kind of ties into it anyway. He says, "Stop blaming management for your shortcomings, Okara. You lost to my good friend Connor Cage twice. Without JPR, you cannot get your winning streak going. The Killjoy don't approve." What's your response to that?
Twice. I only count one loss to Connor Cage. I only count that one loss, and management have not given me another chance. Slap me in there with Connor Cage. One more time. 2 more times. Whatever. Give us a 2 out of 3 falls.
I was actually going to say, you want a best 2 out of 3?
Exactly. I will beat the guy. I've only been put in there with Connor and handed a loss once. I'm man enough to admit I lost. True, might be by questionable ways.
But what you really should have said just now is that it's an asterisk in the record books. That's what you probably
Exactly. But without a doubt, if Killjoy wants to try his hand at me, he's more than welcome.
Well, Killjoy has a list. Have you seen the list that Killjoy has, by the way?
I've seen the list, and I'm a little offended I'm not on said list.
That's why I brought it up. I mean, would you like to be on Killjoy's list? I mean, I famously joked with him on Friday's show that it reminded me of the movie Billy Madison, where the guy has a list of people who basically like wronged him in high school, and he wanted to like kill them all. And basically, Billy's character was the one that actually was taken off the list. And I kind of made a joke with Killjoy. I said, Killjoy, I hope I'm like Billy Madison's character, where basically I can be the guy that's taken off the list, and he'll look at him at the end of the movie and kind of nod. I kind of think with Killjoy, right? That's how I feel. But you actually want to be on this list, though. Why do you want to be on this list?
I absolutely love that movie. But as for the list, I just want to be on the list so Killjoy can put an X next to someone for who he's lost against.
Ooh, ow, ooh, that's a blow, man. That's a big blow here. So certainly, Dante Okara is definitely bringing the hellhound-like heat here. And Tyler Murphy says, when those tag belts come out, you will all see here. I've got loads of comments in here, and let me get back to Killjoy first because I am way behind on them. So he's got a better idea. Get your boy, I'll get mine. Cage Joy versus Swarm.
I'm down. Simple. I'm down.
Let me think. Now, let me think, right? How about NSAW Asylum match? Cage Joy versus Swarm? You and Murphy against Connor and Killjoy?
I'm 100% game for that. But Killjoy, do not complain to me when you're handed a loss. Connor, do not complain to management when you are handed a loss either.
Very, very interesting stuff here. And your tag team partner says when those tag team belts come out, you'll see. You will all see. So is that a sign maybe of things to come? Am I missing something, what I just heard here from Tyler Murphy?
That's definitely a sign of things to come. As soon as NSAW management bring us those tag belts, they might as well just hand them to me and Tyler Murphy. We are going to decimate the competition.
Well, we'll find out. I'll tell you that much here. I've got a good one, though, related back to GTM and the Rumble itself, or the match for the NSAW Showcase. So let's get to it here. What would you have done with a spot in that 6-man in the Rumble if management sent you to GTM? That's a great question.
It's simple. I would have done what I do best. I would have gone in there, absolutely destroyed the competition, made myself a superstar. Enough said.
So let me ask you a different question. And we're talking with pro wrestling star here, Dante Okara of the Swarm here. And you can follow again Dante Okara on Instagram at DanteOkara.NSAW. Let's say that if you had beat Connor Cage at Asylum, do you think that if you win that match, you would have had Connor Cage's spot? Is that a fair question?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Management would have easily seen that I bested their golden boy, their golden goose, and I would be skyrocketed right to the top.
Okay, all right. So that's certainly a question that I had in mind, and I think you gave me the answer I was looking for. Maybe if you worked as hard as Connor, then maybe management would give you the opportunity that you want. Hmm.
That's interesting. That's interesting
Yeah,
because
jump in, jump in.
I I work hard at what I do. I've been doing what I do for a long time, and I've had so many ups and downs. I've been blacked out. I've been knocked out. I've been cut open. I've lost tons of blood, a lot, but I'm still here
Hmm.
and I'm still fighting because I do not quit. It's that simple.
Well, I definitely don't think you quit, and it definitely sounds like you're somebody that might have been in the ring with the guy I had in a little while ago, Mark the Tank Ellen. So you sound like almost somebody that took some of his punches because that guy could definitely pack a few. But certainly hear some more comments from your tag team partner. I was trying to say we were treated poorly and we deserve our shot. So he basically was just clarifying. And thank you, Tyler. Thank you for tuning in. We will also definitely get you on here in the future as well. So I look forward to speaking with you. So also, you keep making that excuse about the hand on the rope. You can't make that excuse if there's no rules. I'm just saying. Is there a rules book in nonstop action wrestling that you've looked at? I mean, that is an interesting point because
There's,
I referenced the BTW title match between Rarebit and Bentley, and apparently in the BTW book, again, Lucas Jackson had to come out and they had to restart the match. They didn't want to. They wanted to see Rarebit obviously lose it, but they had to restart it. Is there something in the rule book from Nonstop Action Wrestling that specifically says that if your hand is on the rope or your foot is on the rope, leg is on the rope, that the match has to be restarted? Do you know anything about that?
it doesn't matter if there's a rule book about NSAW. That is the rule book of professional wrestling. My hand was under the rope. I got a clear rope break. It'll just be the exact same thing if I went under the ring and hit Connor with a chair. It'll be an instant disqualification.
Hmm.
Same rules, different company.
Okay, all right. So we'll certainly revisit that. So who are you looking forward to facing? I kind of feel like I know the answer, but we'll ask it anyway.
I'm I'm looking forward. I have a list, just like Killjoy. Only my list is
Oh
down the.
God.
I have within NSAW. I would
All right.
like to fight Drag Cross,
Okay.
a really cool guy.
Yep.
I'll call me a stupid, call me a dreamer, whatever. I would like to fight Goliath.
Wait, you want to fight Goliath?
I want to fight
You
Goliath.
saw what he did with Gareth Angel? You still want to fight him after that? He
Oh,
gave Gareth Angel a real run for his money on Saturday.
I want to prove to management that I am just as good as I say I am, and I will do that by stepping toe to toe with Goliath. And I also want to fight Danny Loco.
Really? Danny Loco. Interesting one. That would be a really interesting match between you and him. I think that would be a match where I really think like that would be one of those what they call a banger kind of match, I have to say. That's an interesting one.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Outside of NSAW, I mean, the list is endless. You got names like Rex Savage on there.
Well, we saw Rex Savage in Disciple at Summertime Slaughterhouse.
True, true. And we saw Rex absolutely annihilate people at the show they did before as well.
Yep. Exordium, yep.
At Exodium, yeah. I'd like to fight Rex. I'd like to fight James Westney outside of NSAW. Anywhere.
I know James Westney. We just heard from him.
I know the dude pretty well. And I reckon we would have a really good fight. Right. I want to fight people like Jackson Arrow's on that list.
I know Jackson Arrow.
The list is endless.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of wrestlers that I could think of in the UK that you would be an excellent opponent for. I think about even people like I'll throw in the Playboy Prince, Lance Rivera. I'll throw in one of my guys, Scotty Rock. I mean, there's a long list of people that I could see you being in the ring with. But let's get to some more.
I wouldn't mind fighting Joe Hendrick.
Oh, well, and by the way, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Hendrick, that would be a match that I'll tell you what, that would be that would be worth some pounds there. I would say that, if I'm not mistaken, that would be worth a few pounds there. All
Yeah,
right. So,
definitely. I mean, it's a long shot, but hell, it's out there.
hey, I'll make sure people hear it. Dante, keep your head up. The boys will be reunited soon. AOD for life. See you soon. You don't quit sounds like a match idea, if you ask me. But let me get to Thursday's guest, because he is certainly the talk of professional wrestling, and that is the lawman, Cal Kennedy. So let me get to him, because I'm way behind on comments, so I'll go shotgun on some of them, but let me at least give a minute to the lawman, Cal Kennedy, because he is coming back once again, which almost seems like he's a regular at this point on Sportswire, and for good reasons. So let's get to, because there's a long comment here. So, correction, as I've stated previously, you moron, the lawman moniker is for the fact I seek my own justice via my own necessary needs, not because I have some sort of degree in law. Idiot, just like you're not a hound from hell, you're just a very small boy with a very big God complex. You sounds like one of the politicians I've worked for before. You've done nothing of note, so stop complaining. You're being held back when you've done literally nothing, and certainly haven't proven you deserve the opportunities others have had. You're lucky to have JPR by your side. Would you like to respond to the lawman Kyle Kennedy just now?
I mean, that's big words coming from the society's bag boy, but
He's 5-0, by the way. Have you heard he's 5-0?
I've heard he's 5-0. He won't shut up about it. That's
5-0
big.
though.
That's big talk coming from the guy that carries the bags.
Ooh.
But
Ooh.
I respect you, Cal Kennedy, but if you want to get in my face, I will not hesitate to punch you in the mouth.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Certainly, he's got Mark the Tank Ellens on his mind here. So you want to punch the lawman Kyle Kennedy in the mouth?
Oh, he wants to step up. I will knock him down like everyone else.
But have you seen him, though? I mean, he was in the GTM Rumble, and he did pretty well for himself. It took like 80 guys, literally 80, almost the entire Rumble members in the ring to throw him over. Are you sure you want to do that? He's a big man. He's a really big guy.
It's simple. Cal Kennedy, yeah, 5-0. Big whoop. 5-0. How many of those are clean victories, Kyle? How many of those do you not need help with?
But he would say, though, he's got the win, though.
He would. Without a doubt. Only difference is I don't need anyone to help me get the win.
All right. Well, I want to get to a few other comments. The lawman Kyle Kennedy says, please try me. He says, if COVID didn't end you, I sure as hell will. So certainly COVID didn't end Dante Okara, thankfully, but the lawman Kyle Kennedy says he will. Young Horowitz says he wants to fight you. So Young Horowitz has basically made his claim that he wants to fight you. The rules are universal. You got it. Oh, you want Young Horowitz. You have no problem with that.
I have the utmost love and respect for Young Horowitz, but if you want to fight,
I gotta tell you, he reminds me. There was a pitcher at the New York Mets in baseball had at one point. His guy's name was Anthony Young, and he kept going out there, and for whatever reason, he kept losing. And unfortunately, he didn't pitch that bad. He just had like bad luck. And Young Horace is like, he's really good in the ring, and unfortunately, he doesn't win these matches, but he keeps going out there. And also reminds me a little bit of a wrestler who had a long losing streak for a really, really long time, who was a really, really good wrestler. And if you look him up, his name was Barry Horowitz. And Barry Horowitz would have like really, really good matches. He was a long-time staple in the WWF and WCW. I think ECW might have had a very brief stint in. And he was a really, really good wrestler, but for whatever reason, he didn't win many matches. But Young Horace is on that level. But let me get to also... Yeah, go ahead.
Young Horace is like me. He's not given chances. If people just looked at him and gave it, he is good. He is unbelievable in between those ropes. Just look at what he did at Christmas Carnage.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, we watched him in UKW. I mean, I've gotten to watch his work, and I'm a big fan. But let me get to somebody that I really think impressed a lot of people. And he might have had one of the better Rumble showings for GTM, and certainly he's a huge part of things at Nonstop Action Wrestling, Blackheart Wrestling, you name it, he's a huge part of things. And that's Gung Ho Muttley. I think Gung Ho Muttley, really, really had some eyeballs on him for some important reasons. So let's go to Gung Ho. Gung Ho says, noticed you not mentioning myself, MC2, or any of the Academy of Agony. Suppose MC2 ragdolling you and decimating you in seconds has you scared. Dante Okara is all mouth. If he didn't have JPR to hide behind, he wouldn't say half the things that he does. I'll knock you down like everyone else, says Dante, a man who so far hasn't knocked down anyone. That's a lot coming from Gung Ho Muttley. What would you like to say to that?
That's cute coming from an overhyped someone that is like way too hyper.
But he did kind of really show a lot of people that he can hang with main eventers. I mean, he under the radar had one of the best performances in a Rumble, I think, for GTM and maybe in a while in professional wrestling. 20-plus minutes he lasted. He was right there with a Gareth Angel or Rarebit. I mean, you sure you still want to say that about after his performance?
He did a great job, no doubt. He's obviously been doing some work with it to himself whilst he's been away from the ring. And it's obviously paid off for him. But, you see, I didn't mention Muttley, MC2, or the Academy of Agony because they're not worth mentioning. They are not worth my time. I'm looking
after his performance, though, I mean, he was 20-plus minutes in that Rumble. I mean, we were speaking off the air with some in Nonstop Action Wrestling, and if I'm not mistaken, he was in the Rumble, I believe, the third or fourth longest. He was right behind a Garrett Angel and a Rarebit. He might have actually been third in terms of just overall performance and how long he lasted. I mean, that's a big deal. Like, going forward, Gung Ho Muttley now is going to be a guy that, you know what, you put him in the discussion of somebody that can now maybe contend for a world title or contend for a serious, huge push here because of what he did.
I mean, if Muttley wants to go, then I'll go. I'll take on all comers. No doubt, the guy did an impressive job. It was amazing what he did. But, once again, I wasn't there. If I was there, it would be a different story.
So you feel that, let me get this straight before I get to Gung Ho Muttley and a few other comments, because I got a bunch of them in here. Supersonic Sammy Blue wants to even ask you a question directly, but let me get this straight. If Dante Okara, the Hellbound, the Hellboy, was in there, you were in there, all the stuff, whatever you want to call yourself at this point, if you're in that Rumble, do you think that you would right now be the number one contender to Jack Johnson's championship, in your opinion?
Oh, I'm not claiming I'll be the number one contender, but I am claiming Muttley wouldn't have lasted anywhere near as long as he did.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so that's at least, I could see that. So at least you said that if Gung Ho and you were in the same ring, Gung Ho wouldn't have lasted as well. Okay, that makes sense here. All right, so I could certainly appreciate that here. So Supersonic Sammy Blue says, I've got a question. Why haven't you been banned from social media yet? You're always on Facebook stalking Connor Cage and recently started on me. Do we need to get the authorities involved? Your response to that?
That's simple, because Connor, we all saw the Swinton screw job. Connor did not beat me clean. My hand was under the rope. And I want justice. Just like the lawman, I want justice. As for you, Sammy, you started the sick and twisted chant. So I'm gonna embrace that moniker. If you want to come at me, Sammy, I will show you.
So you're doing the Kurt Angle. Everybody would chant, "You suck."
Exactly.
You're chanting it. You're going with it. All right. I can respect that. All right. So we've got here another comment in here. NSAW is awesome. Absolutely love NSAW. Gareth Angel's Church Wrestling rules. Absolutely on that. And I was speaking with Mr. Angel earlier today, so I appreciate his support as well.
GTM is amazing.
Academy of Agony are just playground bullies from Wish. So I guess you and your... All right, so there you go. But let me get to somebody here before I get to the lawman, because I always get to the lawman. But let me get to your brethren in the swarm, who I'm going to break it here on Sportswire Radio. Next Tuesday night is coming on here with us. I believe we have it for 7:30. That is next Tuesday. That is JPR. Finally live here on Sportswire Radio with us. And JPR says, who, by the way, is 2-0 in Nonstop Action Wrestling. By the way, he's 2-0, by the way. So Lawman Kyle Kenny might be 5-0 in Nonstop Action Wrestling, but JPR is 2-0. And he says here, if JPR was around more often, Dante's winning streak would be like JPR's. So your response to your brethren.
Exactly. No one would touch... In that ring, on the mic, no one can touch me. Granted, people can come close, but no one can touch me. If JPR was watching my back more often, then I would actually be untouchable.
But do you feel like though that in some sense, like there are some wrestlers that they win and they don't need somebody to watch their back? Do you feel like you need to have somebody watching your back, or what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, I don't need somebody watching my back, but it never hurts,
Okay,
right?
all right, that's fair here. Listen, so let me get to the lawman Kyle Kennedy because the lawman Kyle Kennedy has spoken, and I think he might be the one guy that can pretty much go toe to toe with you on the mic because I've had him on here several times, and certainly I'm looking forward to Thursday's show live with him and Slugger Hampton, who by the way, Slugger also extremely impressive. So we're gonna get the guy that was the last one to be eliminated in the GTM Rumble that just passed here this past Saturday. So I'm always excited to be with Slugger Hampton. And the lawman Kyle Kennedy says, well, for an apparent bag boy, I've done well for myself. Appeared on every show for NSAW to date. Banger matches. Hell, I've even managed to branch out to Blackheart and GTM while you sit there and expect opportunities, whereas I go out and grab them by the throat. That's a big response there. You want to respond?
That is a huge response. And in response to that, Kyle, I was only off one show, and that was Exodium. And that is simply because I was not there on the day. I had duties in the real world, Kyle. Meaning, if I was not held up doing something else, I would be at every show. I would be where you were. I was at Christmas Carnage, without a doubt. I might not have won, but I was the talking point of that show. Just with Champ, just for the little bit I did with Champ Rodgers.
He, by the way, has got a comment about you in a second, so.
I was the talking point of Christmas Carnage. I wasn't at Exodium. Yeah. Things going the way. Life happens, Kyle. Tough luck. When was the last time you was around?
Well, right now, a lot of people seem like they want the lawman Kyle Kennedy. So certainly the lawman Kyle Kennedy, right now, he's in high demand. Certainly, I'm sure Dante Okara will definitely be in high demand here very soon, like the lawman. But let me get to the super dad, the patriarch that is Champ Rodgers, who, by the way, I have his shirt, by the way. So I have to say I do have a Champ Rodgers shirt. So I think the next show we'll see live on Sportzwire, I will be wearing a Champ Rodgers shirt. So Champ says, do you have purple hair to make up for having for a lack of personality? Is it purple, by the way? I was actually trying to figure this out here. Is it purple?
It's like a faded pink right now. It's come out more blonde than anything on camera. But
are you afraid, though, by dyeing your hair that color, it might actually go like white earlier on in life?
Hey, if it goes white early on in life, what's
well, you can always do the Kevin Nash where dyeing it to a certain point where it almost becomes like it looks like fake hair, which was what Kevin Nash I think was doing every time he would come back to WWE. You'd see him all of a sudden with like that dye job, and you could tell it was a certain point where it's like you got to let it go, man. But hopefully you don't have that same problem.
Exactly, and hell, if my hair turns white, it turns white. I will pull it off just like I pull everything else off.
That is certainly a very, very fair point. And he also says, how does MC2 feel about you stealing his facial hairstyle? I mean, yeah, a little bit. I mean, did you ask him for permission?
This is just a result of shaving 2 days ago.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if it makes you feel better, I haven't shaved this in like 4 years. So, I mean, I probably should meet a razor blade. But at this point, look at it like, I tell you what, though, but at this point, it's almost like to shave this takes like 2 seconds. So at this point, it's now laziness. It's like now I don't want to get a haircut or get a shave because literally I don't have to do anything anymore. So that's kind of like laziness.
No, done. You pull off the whole mutton chop look.
Yeah, I hear that. I certainly hear that.
I was start eating pizzas and kebabs and that, and I was getting beard hair in my mouth. And I can't do.
I gotta be honest, real quick. And I know people don't want to hear like facial hair talk, but I can't do the goatee thing. I can't. that I've had that same problem. So here nor there, and I've got a funny one here, or sort of funny one from James Westney. Why did you start wrestling, or was it to just annoy everyone?
I started wrestling. My friend, who we'll just call Daz for now.
Okay.
He got me into wrestling at the age of 3. He showed me a Kurt Angle Steve Austin match,
Okay.
and I instantly fell in love with it. Kurt Angle was my dad's favorite wrestler, and it was great. I grew up watching the Hardys, D-Generation X,
Yep.
all that lot. Probably explains why I stick to more tag stuff now.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, you think about the Hardys, you think about Edge and Christian, you think about, to a lesser extent, D-Generation X, but certainly the Dudleys and every like APA you want to throw in there as well. But all those tag teams from that era, I mean, tag team wrestling was at its peak. I mean, now it's tag team wrestling. It depends on where you go, but I mean,
Oh,
I could,
definitely. But the whole annoying people, that's just a bonus.
And I have a funny one here from Gung Ho Muttley, and he says, "You sound like Bill Clinton." I mean, are you related to Bill Clinton by any chance? I mean,
I wish I was related to Bill Clinton. That would be a huge paycheck.
well, no, I would actually say I would wish to be related to him because of, I guess, all the women he had. They said that was the old Howard Stern used to always say the old line was he'd say, "Well, at least he was she was under the table while he was in the White House. He couldn't have done that bad of a job, right?" I mean,
There
that
you
was just,
go. There you go.
So I shouldn't, obviously condone that as a reverend, but I thought it was a funny line that Howard used to say. And Champ Rodgers says, "Hey, Dante Okara is a valuable member of NSAW. Someone has to keep catering busy." For the record, are you keeping catering busy? Is that a one-liner here?
I'm keeping catering busy in the form that I'm putting them out of business.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I eat, but I stay in shape and I stay looking good. Job's a good one, right?
And if it works for you, definitely follow Dante Okara on Instagram at danteokara.nsaw. Let me get to another comment in here. Do you agree that if you win a belt in wrestling, you should wear the belt in your Facebook profile pic? That way, everyone will know you're cool and a winner. But just don't do it like what Jack Johnson says. Every time Jack Johnson goes, Salford, and he has the belt, Salford. It's like, yes, we know you're from Salford. So just do yourself a favor. Don't just say Swinton or Yorkshire or wherever else. So, I mean, but what's your answer to that question?
I think it's important getting it out there that you are a champion. But what's more important than being a champion is being someone who's looked at as a reliable competitor.
Okay.
Someone who can be looked at as, yeah, he's out there making a name for himself, where the champion is nowhere to be seen. So that's really a coin toss.
Interesting. Yeah, I kind of feel like that as a champion, you should be promoting yourself and the belt because you have a responsibility. I've always felt to that company that gave you the opportunity. So I kind of agree with that to some extent. And you don't need anyone to watch your back. You need a brother in arms that they won't stab you in the back. And I've got a good one here. What does it mean to you being in a team with Tyler Murphy and JPR?
Tyler is a really good dude. From discussions I've had with him backstage and everything, he's a really good dude. He loves the business. He loves what he does. He's extremely agile. If you've seen any of his matches,
yep, I've seen some of his work. Yep.
JPR, he took us under his wing. He didn't have to, but he did. He took us under his wing, and he's teaching us exactly what it takes to survive in this business. He didn't have to do that. The fact he saw something in me and Tyler Murphy just speaks volumes.
What does that mean, though? Because JPR, obviously, here's a guy that's competing for the UKW Heavyweight Championship. Here's a guy he's a big deal. I mean, JPR, anytime you mention a JPR, that's a big, big shot in the arm to any company and to anybody altogether. I mean, what does that mean for you to be able to learn from somebody on a day-to-day basis who's had the major success like a JPR?
It truly does mean a lot. It means that I can be a top level performer pretty much every time I step in between those ropes, and take what he teaches me and use that in the ring, and just outdo and outwork everyone. Like Christian Cage before he turned into an absolute douche.
Yeah, I mean, but Christian always kind of felt like underneath it all kind of was always that douche, and it actually maybe works better for him in that sense. And let me get to
he's spitting straight fire, no doubt.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, Christian on the mic has always been phenomenal, and I think right now he might have another shot for another big run here for his career. Certainly, with everything going on with him and Jungle Boy and
Oh,
uh,
definitely. In the
Supersonic.
ring, Edge is the better competitor. On the mic, Christian's best.
Well, you know, I heard this real quick before I get to comments, and I think it was Bully Ray that said this once about Christian, and they asked him that same thing. He said that what Christian brings to the table is stuff that on TV as a wrestler you can't see, and what he brings to the table actually helps a wrestler far more than you would think, whether it's the psychology, whether it's the ability to carry a match, the ability to pace yourself and to be able to go back and forth, and some of those things here Christian helps with wrestlers in debt backstage, very similar to what our JPR does, who'll be with us next Tuesday live on Sportswire Radio. Supersonic Sammy Blue says, no, you shouldn't shave it, Tom. Yeah, no, I'm not shaving it, Sammy. Don't worry about it. I'll go drop dead in the box before I shave it. So, and make me a sandwich, Dante. Make yourself useful, from the rock idol of the UK, Jenny Hayes. So, we'll have some of that. And grab me some mac and cheese while you're at it. So, all right, that's fair points here. Who would win an 8-man tag? The Wiggles or the Mr. Tumble family?
Definitely the Wiggles.
All right. So that's certainly that's a good one here from Champ Rodgers, who, by the way, Champ Rodgers, we are bringing back here in a few weeks. So we're looking forward to bringing Champ back here. A lot to speak about with him because he was a part of that showcase match, and I'm looking forward to getting in touch with him.
And he did an amazing job. That belly to belly he hit on Gung Ho Muttley looked absolutely beautiful. I will not lie. The guy is an amazing talent.
Yeah, you know what, Champ Rodgers, I kind of feel like another one of these guys that you look at his performance, and I mean, people knew about him. He was in GTM before. He had the challenge against Tommy Dillon. We know the feud with him and Kyle Kennedy, but I really feel like another guy that really opened eyes on behalf of the company.
Indeed. Like, look at Christmas Carnage when he hit me with that clothesline. I felt that for like a week. That guy... being hit by that guy is like being hit by a truck.
It's like being hit by Mark the Tank Ellens. I just had Mark the Tank Ellens on. That Champ Rodgers clothesline was just like world champion boxer Mark the Tank Ellens. And it was so funny. We had on Mark the Tank Ellens, and I mentioned whatever championship he won. He's like, no, it was the European title. And I'm like, yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Ellens. So that was that Champ Rodgers clothesline, very similar to that. And
Champ Rodgers clothesline. If you watch carefully, you can see the exact moment my soul leaves my body.
I watched it. Listen, I watch everything I can on Nonstop Action Wrestling, and you can do the same also by going to YouTube. And you know what? I might nip by Asylum, just show you just how overhyped I am. I'll tell you what. He definitely impressed a lot of people. No question about it here when it comes to Gung Ho Muttley.
No question about it. But if that's a challenge, Mutt, I'm all up for it.
Okay, here. Certainly we'll find out here. And if you like what you hear from us on Sportswire Radio, I highly give you a doubt here. I highly hope you follow us at Facebook at Sportswire Radio on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player. And also, I highly encourage you to give Nonstop Action Wrestling a follow on Facebook as well at Nonstop Action Wrestling. Also, please subscribe to the YouTube page. I have a lot of great content out there. I love Nonstop Action Wrestling, and I want to again congratulate the entire company for all of the hard work and the impressive showing that everybody had a GTM numbers, and really an historic moment for the company. And the company definitely continues to be on its way to bigger and better things here, going to August 13th, Fire and Gold, which is now less than 30 days away here. So you're going to get wall-to-wall coverage of it on Sportswire Radio here throughout the next several weeks. So we love Nonstop Action Wrestling and everything it has to offer. But I forgot to get to this comment, and I want to get to it, is because it's from management. The boss of Nonstop Action Wrestling, Mr. Joshua Snow, and he says here regarding to your match at Asylum against Connor Cage, the match would not be restarted if the hand is found on replay to be under or on the ropes, which is why we had to come to a decision. Would you like to respond to that verdict?
Well, basically, Mr. Snow, your decision sucks.
Wow, okay.
Going back a few steps, talk about Fire and Gold. I've been given a message by management themselves. So thank you for popping in, Mr. Snow.
Well,
Um,
I'm glad you brought that up, so go right ahead.
at Fire and Gold, there will be a 10-man showcase battle royal. And this is me not asking management to be in this match, but this is me telling management I'm going to be in that match, and I will decimate 9 different competitors.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, Dante Okara, repeat what I just heard, just to make sure I don't have to hear that again, or my ears need to
I
be checked.
I am
Repeat that
not going to
again.
ask management to be in the 10-man showcase at Fire and Gold. I am telling them straight, I am going to be in that match, and I will decimate anyone they put in front of me.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, here, a bombshell, yet another bombshell on Sportswire Radio in the fact that we are going to have a 10-man battle royal or a 10-person battle royal coming up here at Fire and Gold August the 13th. And Dante Okara has made his stakes claim. He has drawn his foot into the ring and he wants to be a part of it. So that is a bombshell we did not expect here on Sportswire Radio. Mr. Okara has definitely told us here that we can expect a lot from him and a lot from the other participants. And something tells me here we might hear a lot about that here over the next few weeks. And certainly Supersonic Sammy Blue says, we love the champ, love true, fight hard. But I got this from Joshua Snow, and I got a few other comments. I promised that I'll get to them. But let me get to what Joshua Snow has to say. Given what happened at the end of the match of yourself and Connor Cage, you will get your rematch.
And that's what I'm looking forward to. Justice has been served. I will pin Connor Cage in the middle of that ring. And if you want it, I'll do it without Tyler Murphy's help. He will be. If you want to ban him from ringside, that's fine. I will beat him clean. I will beat your golden goose, and then I will show you all I deserve to be taken notice of.
So one-on-one, you and Connor Cage, no outside interference?
One-on-one, no outside interference. I will take the boy down.
So it seems like that could be very well something maybe we see on a future NSAW Asylum show. And I will say one thing about Mr. Snow. I'm always impressed that let's say about the jacket that he has wearing on. It looks like a really impressive jacket. I don't know what it is, but
Mr. Snow does have an impressive jacket.
Indeed. Yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know why anybody hasn't pointed this out yet, but for whatever reason,
he has an amazing jacket, without a doubt. But it's not as good as mine.
All right. Well, certainly we may get to some of that here. And he says here, let's be honest, chicks dig big beards. Well, we'll see about that. JPR only took Dante and Murphy under his wing because Make-A-Wish asked him to. Ooh, that's a burn from Champ Rodgers. You got burned there. That reminds me of when they used to have the show on MTV called Punked from Ashton Kutcher. That reminds me of like a punked like comment right now. That's a burn, man. That's a burn.
Oh. To claim to be the super dad, that's just... And then you go out and make a Make-A-Wish joke? Oh, champ, I had more respect for you than that.
Are you saying that maybe JPR was supposed to make a wish for Champ Rodgers and JPR turned him down?
Maybe JPR hit Champ Rodgers around the head one too many times.
That is true also. You can see it on the Non-Stop
Champ Rodgers got a wee bit confused.
That could very well be a possibility. I've got another good comment in here I want to get into. Given the evolution of wrestlers in recent years and the type of people wrestling now, I have to ask, do careers count as managers? Did I read that correct? Oh, do cater? How do I say key? Is it careers? What do I say here? Am I reading it the wrong way?
No, you're reading fine.
So I'll ask you that question then. Apologies for the trying to make that last one out.
You look at managers in the modern day. You look at guys like Paul Heyman. Paul has done it all in this business, and he's still going strong because he doesn't have to reinvent himself. He just is that good. You stay good, and you stay relevant. What else can I say?
No, I think there's no question that I mean, managers are always important. I look at now, we're seeing William Regal now in AEW kind of getting a second win for his career. You see Tully Blanchard in AEW, Jake Roberts for a while in AEW. I mean, I do think that managers in wrestling are important. Look at MVP. I mean, MVP legitimately probably had the biggest run of his career being alongside Bobby Lashley. I mean, you think about
Exactly.
wrestling managers. Ric Flair,
Exactly.
even
I
for a
mean,
little while with Charlotte. And
you look at MVP, and the guy used to be. People used to chant Power Ranger at the guy all the time, and now look at
I
him.
remember.
Yo, but his entrance was so cool.
You remember him when he was teaming up with Matt Hardy? That was kind of an interesting tag team. Remember that tag team?
That was interesting, but it was going to be a train wreck from the very beginning.
Oh, no question about it. No question about it, though. If you could face any two people in NSAW for the tag belts when they are made, who would be your dream tag match?
My dream tag match. Of guys that aren't current teams in NSAW, I say I will go Super Sonic Sammy Blue because he's agile now. I'll give him that much.
Mm-hmm.
And Mikey Future.
Interesting one. That's an interesting one. Mikey Future did impress some people. He was against the lawman Kyle Kennedy at Asylum a few weeks ago, and I had the good fortune to watch that match, and Mikey Future can definitely go in the ring. That's an interesting combo there. That's very interesting.
I say guys that aren't in current teams, those two have worked together in the past, and they're impressive together. I'd love to step in the ring with them.
Okay, all right. That's actually a good one. That was a good answer. I really like that answer. So very, very good, and shout out to all of them. And the Super Dad says, I actually got a chance to watch your match versus Big Boy Connor Cage at NSAW Asylum just before GTM the other day. I will give credit where it's due. You mean a spine buster? Maybe a spine buster versus bedtime story needs to happen. And
Spinebuster versus Bedtime Story definitely needs to happen. I need to get you back for that clothesline at Christmas Carnage, champ.
And you do realize that Bedtime Story, I believe, is named after a Madonna song and album. I just wanted to point that out.
I love the old school.
So certainly that's kind of funny here. I want to give a shout out to Uncle Ralph from CCW. Good evening, gentlemen. And Uncle Ralph, we're going to have on CCW coverage Wednesday night because Dustin Hart will be with us, and I'm looking forward to getting ready for CCW's next show next week. So I'm looking forward to resuming CCW coverage Wednesday, and then Thursday we'll do kind of a mix-up here of NSAW and CCW with Slugger Hampton and the Lawman Kyle Kennedy. So that'll be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And I should also break the news here. Friday, we're going to have on Goliath. Goliath speaks. He has his first full-length interview since his match against Gareth Angel. We did see the video on Facebook, which he got a lot off his plate, a lot off his chest, but now we will be able to speak with Goliath for the first time in depth about that match with Gareth Angel and where do we go from here and everything that he poured his emotions on when it came to his video earlier this afternoon here. So I'm looking forward to getting in touch with Goliath once again and had to get him on here.
I did catch that video. I was impressed by the dude at GTM. I'm not going to lie. I was impressed. Everything he did was amazing.
I think he really was another one that said, okay, you didn't know much about me, but now you're going to know about me now. So, and Champ Rodgers has a funny line here in regards to the Madonna response. I knew he would get it for whatever reason. He said, I was going to name it Like a Virgin, but I'm not sure that works for Super.
No, that really doesn't work for Super.
Yeah, I don't think, unfortunately or fortunately, I would say, I'd say fortunately for obviously the Super Dad's beautiful family, but certainly I don't think Like a Virgin would work. So yeah, I don't think that's going anywhere. Do you also hate bounties like JPR?
I despise bounties. Like coconut can just no.
Okay.
I despise them.
I have to say though, the bounties look good though. I did see Connor Cage post it, and the bounties
look good. But that's where they get you. See, they look good, but it's terrible.
You know what that reminds me of? I was a little kid, and for whatever reason, Haagen-Dazs had like an offshoot ice cream. I think it was called Mathis or something like that. And it was this vanilla ice cream. And I must have been like, I don't know, 5 or 6, whatever it was. And all I kept doing, like one summer, was eating. I exercise. I'm in good shape now and everything else. But all I would do was eat this ice cream. It was addicting, kind of like
It's
down.
like
Down
that.
is,
It's like that cola your mother gets you when you
oh,
can't really
listen.
afford Coke.
Listen, my one Achilles heel is soda because I'm always tired. So I have to say the when my obituary is written, it'll be cause of death probably soda. So that'll just be my running joke here. So
Hey, I'm
uh,
probably the same, my dude. I am addicted to cola. It's
well, I
great.
liked you already. Listen, I liked you from the beginning, and we've got a good one here. Let me get to. And what's your favorite match that you've watched and would want to take part in? For example, ladder match, steel cage, etc. That's a good question.
My favorite match I've watched has to be. Um, it's an old school one. It's actually Michaels v Brett in the first Iron Man match.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up because I think somebody asked me about favorite matches, and even though I didn't watch it live, I watched it on VHS. I remember this is going back to when I was a kid. We're talking like 1999 and WrestleMania 12. I loved WrestleMania 12 for whatever reason, and the Iron Man match, the drama of it, the last few minutes where Brett has him, and is Sean going to tap, and then it becomes nobody gets the fall, and then the restart of it. I mean, the Iron Man match and the build up, watching the build up to the Iron Man match. I mean, that was so well done.
I would love to do an Iron Man match in NSAW. Look at, I think it was WrestleMania 20, Edge versus Foley. That one.
That would be 21. I want to say that was 2005. I think Edge. That was the match where they had like Mick Foley was set on fire with his jacket. That was
Yeah,
the barbed wire.
it was one of the other.
I think that was 21 because that was the year of One Night Stand. So I want to say it was 21. I believe. Somebody
that match
double
made Edge
check
an
them.
absolute superstar, and I just loved every second of it.
Yeah, I think that was 21 because I think Edge was with Lita still. So I want to say that was WrestleMania 21 because that was yet like another Mick Foley comeback. I mean, you want to talk about guys that couldn't stop retiring? That was Mick Foley. I mean, he kept coming out of retirement like every day. I mean, listen, I know they're talking about Ric Flair right now having his final match coming up here soon, but Mick Foley retired like 25 times. So
it was 22. I remember.
Okay, 2006. Then okay, that makes because that was the year.
WrestleMania 20 was Mick and Dwayne teaming up.
Right, and that was the year of One Night Stand for ECW. So that would be that I remember. Yeah. So and we have here Supersonic Sammy Blue. The thing is, when you're nice to everyone, you create a lot of friends. Me and Mikey are a great tag team in NSAW with the cool name of Back to the Blue Chair. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting one. And me and Champ are in a tag team, the Super Best Buds. Whichever team you want to face, I know we go at it in the ring for those championships. And this is a great platform for Dante to get his name out there, and it's nice to see him featured on a show other than the Crime Watch. Oh, boy. Is Champ Rodgers a stand-up comedian? Do we know if he does stand-up?
I mean, it really wouldn't surprise me with half of the material he comes out with. Is he
performing at a show near you in Swinton or somewhere in Yorkshire that I'm missing?
Yeah, that would be... If he is, then that's news to me.
Well, speaking of things, I've wanted to ask you for a while. You're going to chuckle, and probably half the locker room's going to chuckle because I was trying to ask this, and I didn't get quite the answer. But I have to ask because you're live with me now. I mean, are you really from Los Angeles? Because I was trying to wonder, like, is he from Los Angeles? Because I was thinking about it. Your accent is definitely very different than some in the locker room. And I was thinking about it because I had a friend of mine about 2 years ago go to Los Angeles, and then I thought about it. I really don't know a Los Angeles accent. So I have to ask you, are you from Los Angeles?
No, actually. As I was growing up, I had a really thick American accent, and everyone thought I was from LA. So I got tired of people asking me where I'm from. So up until the age, I'm 24, 25 now.
Okay.
Up until the age of 19, 20 years old, I was like, I wonder how long I can keep this up for. But no, I'm not from LA. I'm actually from Glasgow, up in Scotland.
Wow. Okay. Are you there now, or where are you now currently?
Now I live in Sheffield.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, have you been to Los Angeles?
I've been to LA several times for the Comic Cons, and they are...
Oh, wow. So maybe that's why there was a tie-in, because you have been to Los Angeles. You remind me of my friend who tunes in sometimes the Yak Attack, Jacob Bard, who's been to Los Angeles a bunch of different times. And I was like, is he from Los Angeles? So that was my kind of, mention. And big up Sheffield. Yes, definitely big up Sheffield. Definitely love Sheffield, love everything about the UK. I love all the towns. I love Swinton. I love Yorkshire. I love Barrow. I love Morecambe. I love everything about the UK for sure on Sportswear. I love Portsmouth as well. Can never forget about Portsmouth because Portsmouth we're promoting a fight out of also. So all some great places here. So Conor versus Dante. What's that?
The home of the Tank.
Oh, listen. Mark the Tank Ellens we spoke about. Disciples from Portsmouth. I mean, there's a lot of people. Paul Pierce is fighting out of there. He's here right now. I mean, a lot of great things. But Conor versus Dante in an Ironman match, I can see it now. That's the way to get your name out there. Yeah, that's definitely the way to get your name out there. Are you prepared, though, for a 60-minute match like that? Are you prepared to be in the ring that long?
I'll go 60 minutes. I'll go 20 minutes. I'll go 10 minutes. I'll go 120 minutes.
But how
Give me time, I'll do it.
But how could you be able to pull it up? Because I know from wrestlers, I heard Tommy Dreamer say this last year when he was in the ring with Rich Swann for the Impact Wrestling World Championship, and like he was gassed after like 5-6 minutes. You don't think you'd be gassed after a match like that? I mean,
without a doubt, I'll be gassed a little bit, and I'll definitely feel it within the coming days, within the days that follows. But as long as I send people home happy, I'm happy.
All right. Well, certainly you've heard it here first. If there's an Ironman match on Nonstop Action Wrestling in an upcoming show, it's going to be between Dante Okara and, of course, Conor Cage, the aforementioned golden boy here. Supersonic Sammy Blue chimes in and says he's usually a sit-down comedian cracking wise in the corner of the ring while I'm getting beat up in the middle. And Dante gets gassed trying to exit the ring. No, that's who was it? Oh, that was Yokozuna, unfortunately, famously that I was unfortunately sadly watching the Yokozuna documentary on the WWE network because yes, I have the network. I have a way to get it. I won't say it here on Sportswire Radio because I'll incriminate myself, but I actually have the stream around the world, and I was watching the Yokozuna documentary. And Yokozuna one time, I think it was a match he had with Crush. It was on Monday Night Raw. And he was actually like, they showed him and he was like, he was gassed. There was one other time they actually had to get him out of the ring from a forklift. So that's the Danny Lose joke here.
Good old Yokozuna. Going back to years back.
I have a Yokozuna.
People make me out to be a real bad dude, but I'm a nice guy. I just have an issue with injustice.
Well,
I just hate ring ropes.
Well, we'll find out here. If you had to book a Swinton screw job, as in Montreal screw job, how would you book it and who would be involved?
Oh, easy. Just jump on YouTube and look at Dante Okara versus Conor Cage.
I was going to say, like, well, duh. I mean, that's an obvious one here, and that's a no-brainer. Bless you there. I'll go 60 minutes. I'll go 30. I'll go 10. That's how you talk to the lady, isn't it? Ooh, well, I'm not going to comment on that. Because I'm the last person that should be commenting on that. But I want to give a shout out to another person that always impresses and certainly had also an impressive performance at the GTM Ready to Rumble at Numbers, and that was Disciple because he was right there. He was him, Slugger Hampton, and Gareth Angel with a final three, and he was, for my money, one of the guys that could have won it, and he's also from Portsmouth, and that's where our very good friend Mr. Mark the Tank Ellens is from, and he's got a comment, so you might want to hear.
I had my money Disciple to win the whole thing. I'm not going to lie.
Listen, you heard me here. I was saying Disciple was one of my guys that I thought could win it. And Disciple says here, and looking at his face on Facebook, he looks angry while he's saying it here. Doing Ironman matches at training is a great way to work on the fly. NSAW should try it. Do you agree or disagree?
Oh, I agree. It's definitely a way to test endurance.
Okay, well, that could be something that I'm sure is going to be picked up because we know Disciple is also going to be heading a training session, I believe, this coming Saturday. So certainly there are certain wrestlers that might need to be there.
That's true.
Well, find out because Disciple is going to be there, and definitely give Disciple a like on Facebook at Disciple Wrestling, Disciple Wrestler on Instagram, and also BTP_Disciple on Twitter as well. And also like his brand new YouTube page because he's got some great content coming and more on the way. So certainly follow Disciple or else he'll beat you up. I will give credit where credit is due. You are a tough SOB. I can respect that, Dante. Okay, that's some nice words there for you. I'm glad you get some nice words. So obviously you've made it heard that you are going to be a part of things Fire and Gold for the 10-person battle royal. You want to make that claim. So you've kind of answered my question whether whether you'll be at Fire and Gold. But I did want to ask you then, I mean, where else are we going to see you coming up in professional wrestling here lately?
Well, recently I've been approached by a friend of mine and a promotion he runs named Savage Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
They've asked me to do this really dumb character, and here I'm gonna
Why
shut
are
it
you
all
saying it's a
down.
dumb character live on Sportswire Radio? Shouldn't you say
Here,
it's a great character?
here on Sportswire, I'm gonna shut it all down and say it straight up right now. Kelly Six, if you want a piece of me, come get me, boy.
Okay, so it ain't so dumb after all, but it looks like here that could be a challenge out there, and it looks like that could be something we may see you in the next coming few weeks, I would assume, at Savage.
Who knows? Who knows where you're gonna see me next?
Is there any companies that you would like to work out of that you haven't got a chance to? And I'm assuming GTM is definitely one of them.
I would definitely love to work with GTM in the future. Down the line, I'd love to do work with any Blackheart, anywhere I can get my foot in the door, really.
I
And
think
make a name for myself.
BTW, I think BTW, I'd love to see in LWF, I'd love to see, and there's a number of companies I could think of that I think you would be an excellent fit. And we're speaking for about 10 or 15 minutes here with pro wrestling star here, Dante Okara. And Dante is going to be a huge part of things coming up here at Fire and Gold. He very well could be the guy that wins that 10-person battle royal here, which is going to definitely, I have a feeling, could steal the show. And if you like Dante Okara, I highly encourage that you give him a follow on Instagram at danteokara.nsaw. Make sure you follow him. NSAW Official also on Instagram. Also like their Facebook page, YouTube page. Great content is on the way here. I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryson. Dante, I have to ask you then, what are your goals in professional wrestling for the rest of the year?
My goals, usually the correct answer would be, I'm here to become world champion or whatever. But no, my goal is to be remembered. Because you can be world champion all you want. Like, the Brian Kendrick is technically a WWE champion, but nobody remembers it.
Well, he also got in big trouble, I'm sure you're aware of, not too long ago. It was on social media. He did something really dumb, and that's why he's out of a job right now. So I don't think I'd want to be remembered like Brian Kendrick at the moment.
He did, but I want to go out there and just be remembered. Like, outside the world of professional wrestling, I do sound with a band.
I was going to ask you about that next. I did see that on my notes.
I am I'm close with band members. Putting my college days to use and the skills I learned there to use. But ultimately, it's to be remembered.
All right, and I've got another comment in here. I look forward to training with you back in NSAW, and eventually we will share a ring together, either as opponents or on the same side. Okay, nice words. But I did want to ask you, because, I find it so interesting, because you do have sort of something that you do that's a really cool thing, kind of similar to a Jenny Hayes in a sense that you do sound work for a band, and I've obviously interviewed a number of different musicians. Jenny came on, and we have a little bit of background at that. We also play music on Sportswire Radio, so I know DJs, I know artists, all different types of things. So I'm curious, and what's that like in doing sound work for a band and PA work? And talk to me about how you got through that.
Basically, in my college, I did music technology for like 7 years in college.
Okay.
And picked up a few skills there. Since then, I've been approached by a certain band. I'll leave them unnamed for now, but
yeah, unnamed the band.
They're going through a name change and that.
Okay.
I've been approached by them. I am good friends with their vocalist. The studio they practice at, luckily, it's not that. It's within walking distance from me, so it's pretty easy to get to, even though I'm like home at like 2 in the morning and it's pain. But no, I absolutely love it.
What's that life like versus baby training to be a wrestler and doing the sound work and all that stuff? Because I would think it's also a very complex job because everybody focuses on playing an instrument, but there's actually a lot of work when it comes to engineering, tech work, and all that stuff to make a band sound the way they hear and the
Oh,
way we love it.
it's definitely a hassle. I gotta juggle like everything. Being the sound guy for the band, I'm in all black in a studio that is absolutely roasting whenever they decide to gig, and I'm in all black underneath the spotlight. It is absolutely roasting, and but it's worth it in the end.
Oh, I could imagine. And I've got a funny comment in here from Champ Rodgers. If you could have one band play a live entrance for you, who would it be, and why would it be the Muppets band? But if you do want to ask, if you want to answer the question I asked you, at least on the first part, that's fine as well.
It would be the band that actually do my theme, my current
Yep.
NSAW theme. Um, I'm actually friends with the vocalist from that band.
Okay.
We'll just refer to him as DR.
Okay.
I asked him for permission to use the song. He's an independent artist. Gave me full permission, everything. I'm like, dude, that's perfect. I'd love for him and his band to play me to the
Yeah,
ring
I'm
live.
actually friends with two bands in the UK, and one of them was supposed to bring back on here. The first one is the band The Frantics, and they kind of almost like kind of like a hard rock alternative a little bit. And the other band is the Superlatives, who very, very good friends of mine. In fact, the band manager and the bandmates, and actually the Superlatives are almost think of them like almost like a modern day Nirvana in a sense, maybe a
Yeah,
little bit more.
it's cool. You got friends over here. I've got friends over there. A crew I game with online often go by the Black Skull Mafia. They're really cool bunch of guys and girls.
Nice.
So having connections everywhere helps.
Well, that's why you are where you are, and that's why we're gonna giving this question up here for you. What's been the harder thing for you so far in your wrestling training and your way up to the top? That's a great question.
The hardest thing has definitely been getting used to the different styles because not a single person you step in between those ropes with has the same style. It's different every time, and you've got to get used to that. And the footwear that comes in getting used to that, it's insane. Like you take a big guy like Goliath, completely different style to someone like Conor Cage, and just like adapting to those styles is difficult.
Yeah, I would definitely think that there's a lot of things that, in that regards, could be very, very difficult here, and I could certainly see why, though. Also, that Dante Okara is definitely going to be on his way to bigger and better things. And I have to ask you a question. You're gonna chuckle. Another fun question. But what's up with the haircut, man?
My wife actually did it
Oh, okay, well, if
yesterday.
your wife did it, I'm not going to argue then. So it's the greatest haircut, greatest look. I mean, listen, trust me. And then I take everything back and say, what a great job she did. She gave me the best haircut in the world. That used to remind me when I was a little kid. Once in a while, my mother on a Sunday before we go to school would give us haircuts, and sometimes once in a while my father would get him, and he had long hair too, kind of, but he would sort of get him, and it would be like I'd always go to school the next day, and everybody would make fun of my haircut, and I'd be like, "Oh shit!" And before I, go in and say, "Oh, what a great haircut," my mother would say, and then I would go to school and I would get lampooned for it. So I don't think that happens with your wife because I'm sure your wife did a phenomenal job with the look.
Oh,
So.
she's great. She's great. Don't tell her I say otherwise, otherwise she'll kill me.
Oh, trust me, trust me. I have many
She's
problems, and
great.
certainly I don't need to cause any other future problems. But happy wife, happy life. Can I get an amen? Absolutely. I'll give you a sign of the
Exactly.
cross too while we're at it. So
She's great. She
definitely.
knows I have skateboards in the cupboard upstairs and downstairs leading down to the basement, and she was like, "I'll go off that."
Well, I've always wanted to skateboard, so I definitely appreciate that. And I've got another good one here before I get to some closing thoughts and a question or two from you before we sign off here. Who's some up and coming talent in NSAW, GTM, Blackheart, or elsewhere that you've been impressed by?
Um, I've been impressed with Mikey.
Yeah, you know what? I thought his match with the Lawman Kyle Kennedy was actually, I didn't know what to expect in that match. And I have to say, like, that was a really, really good match.
Like Mikey Future, just like I was there during that match, and I got to witness that firsthand, and it was unbelievable.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just wow, both guys knocked it out of the park.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, no question that the two of them, and especially the Lawman Kyle Kennedy, who, by the way, is 5-0. He is 5-0. They expect very, very big things from them here. But before I get to closing thoughts and a few other things, I wanted to ask you this question directly. I'm going to actually let you now address the NSAW locker room. I'm going to let you now address anybody in management from Nonstop Action Wrestling, or anybody that's a fan of Nonstop Action Wrestling or is going to watch this. I'm going to give you the floor. What do you want to say to management? What do you want to say to the rest of the locker room, or anybody else that's a fan of Nonstop Action Wrestling? I'm giving
Basically, to management, I say, you want to hold me back? You want to keep your golden goose up front and center? Fine. Just watch me take out your talent one by one. To the guys in the locker room, the guys and girls in the locker room, I don't care. You want some? Come get some, as John Cena once said. And as for the fans, you want to see action that it's just constant, non-stop, constant, over the top, constant, going to make headlines. Watch NSAW Asylum on YouTube.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you aren't following Dante Okara after this, you better be. That's all I can say. And the Lawman Kyle Kennedy says, I'm 5-0 if nobody knew. So, yeah, he's 5-0. I told you. He's 5-0. He is 5-0, the Lawman Kyle Kennedy. And guess what? From the first time I had him on to the several other times since, he went from 4-0 to 5-0. So clearly,
I would love to be that one in 5-1.
Honestly, I have to say this. I kind of want to see this streak continue. I was watching Goldberg's documentary last night on A&E, and they kept talking about a streak and how long it went, how they made up the streak. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to see his streak go on for a while. So I'm going to say it here. I hope that the Lawman Kyle Kennedy streak continues for as long as humanly possible, because I like talking about a wrestler who's undefeated. There, I said it. I want to hear it from a wrestler who's undefeated. So listen, I had on Mark the Tank Ellens, who was undefeated. He was 9-0, and he kept reminding me he was 9-0 with 8 first-round knockouts. I want to see the Lawman Kyle Kennedy continue to remind everybody he's undefeated. So
it's great you bring that up. Like, look at people like Goldberg. Look at people like The Undertaker. Streaks are made to be broken. I'm not saying I'm going to go out there and knock out the Tank. Not a chance. He will drop me before I even know what hit me. But Kyle Kennedy, you want to come at me? I'll happily fill in that lost column.
Well, there is a point that wrestlers almost historically never stay undefeated, or in many cases don't win their last match. Or, I mean, in boxing, there's one famous example of it, and that was Rocky Marciano, unfortunately, because he died in a plane crash, and he was 49-0. Because I remember as a little kid hearing about Rocky Marciano and his legend, and he was 49-0, I'm pretty sure. But very few instances a wrestler stays undefeated. But if anybody can do it, it very well might be the Lawman Kyle Kennedy. Let me get to this question before I get to closing thoughts here. If you could add someone to your team to make it 4 people, who would you be adding?
Mikey, hands down.
Wow, okay. So would that be somebody also that could be a future person to join the Swarm as well?
Never say never. That's all I have to say.
Are you guys looking for new members?
End of the day, it's all up to JPR. But never say never. But I would, hands down, it'll be Mikey. I have history with Mikey. I know the guy very well. I know what he's capable of. And the stuff he's done in Back to the Future makes me cringe every time I say the name. It's terrible. Everything he's done in Back to the Future is only a small fraction of what he has in store.
And I've got some good comments in here before we go. And think of the shockwave. Think of the shockwave that will break the UK wrestling world of when someone actually beats Kyle Kennedy. I mean, yeah, I mean, eventually there could be a day that happens. Watch out, Supersonic Sammy Blue.
Watch out, indeed.
And also the lawman, of course, chimes in, who will be with us again Thursday night, 8:30 with Slugger Hampton. So that'll be a really, really fun segment because those guys can talk and those guys can definitely mix it up. So that's going to be a really, really fun segment. You ain't beating me, boy. Besides, I wouldn't want to step down a level to beat you, fella. Got bigger fish to fry. I'd also want to shout out our guest Wednesday night from our friends over at CCW, and that is Dustin Hart from the CWL. So very, very excited to speak with Dustin. He's going to have a huge match next week. And I want to ask you this last question then, kind of speaking of CCW before I get to closing thoughts. I'm sure you heard the announcement last week from Mixed Knights about the forbidden door here being not only open but shattered when it comes to nonstop action wrestling. And we saw a little taste of that when it comes to GTM this past weekend. What was your impressions of that announcement, and how do you think this bodes for the professional wrestling future going
My
forward?
my thoughts on that was, wow, we have there's opening the forbidden door and there's full on kicking it down. We have full on kicked it down, and anyone that is looking to make a name for themselves at my expense, I please, 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 I welcome you to try.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that means that we are going to see some really, really big things, and I can't wait for that. And Champ Rodgers says, no one puts a hand on my Sammy, super best buds. But then the lawman, Kyle Kennedy, to his point, he's correct. He says, I did yeet him out of the Rumble. Yes, he actually did eliminate Supersonic Sammy Blue, so I cannot argue of that here. So a lot of talk here. Hey, look, a lot of talk here on Sportswire Radio tonight here with Dante Okara. He's got bigger and better things planned. We are going to see him certainly as a huge part of things for nonstop action wrestling, especially for that 10-person battle royal. And he is definitely the hellhound for a reason. And it has been a tremendous honor to have him. And certainly it was worth the delay because, listen, he definitely brought the fireworks. He definitely brought the announcements. And it was definitely worth the heat wave that has come to the UK. Well, we saw some of it here on Sportswire Radio, and unfortunately, we're getting it in New York starting tomorrow. Although I felt the humidity the last couple of days, so it's definitely been that way here. But Dante Okara definitely did a great job for us. So for you, my friend, I want to give you the floor. I want to give you some closing thoughts. Anything you want to plug, share, say with us? It has been a tremendous honor here on Sportswire Radio.
There is one thing that's playing on my mind. Supersonic, you challenged young Horowitz to a match, but you gave him something that is part of his heritage, his mask. No. So Sammy, I'm here to stand up for who I call my friend. Why don't you fight me, Sammy, and put something on the line yourself?
So what would you like him to put on the line?
I don't know. Let's say those blue locks of his. And I'm a man of my word. I'm a fair man. I'll put my hair on the line.
Wait. Slow down here before we get out of here. I mean, so you want a match with Supersonic Sammy Blue, but you want a match unlike any other.
Oh, I'll do a hair versus hair match with Sammy Blue.
So you're saying hair versus hair with Supersonic Sammy Blue?
Indeed.
Oof, ladies and gentlemen here. I mean, you heard it here first on Sportswire Radio. A hair versus hair match? I mean, it could be purple versus blue.
I'm looking forward to that. My hair will probably change color by then, but yeah.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm floored because this is listen, we had not one bombshell, but two bombshells from Dante Okara. It's usually you get one, but he gave us two tonight on Sportswire Radio. Not only are you seeing Dante Okara in a 10-person battle royal, but you're also going to see him just maybe in a hair versus hair match against Supersonic Sammy Blue. I mean, something tells me here that we're going to have to bring back Supersonic Sammy Blue to answer this challenge, to give his thoughts on this, and much, much more, because this is definitely a pipe bomb, unlike no other pipe bomb that we've seen here on Sportswire Radio. So, I mean, this is definitely not only broken the forbidden door, it very well could break the forbidden chair at the barbershop, or maybe even in the ring. So,
I will happily shave Sammy's head in the middle of that ring.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen here, I mean, this is just unbelievable here. Sammy is cackling, says Jenny Hayes, the rock idol of the UK. And wow, I mean, this is a bombshell. This is a bombshell unlike no other. These are reasons why you need to follow Nonstop Action Wrestling on Instagram, NSAW Official. Dante Okara, .NSAW as well. Make sure you follow him because something tells me here he's going to have more announcements here on the way, and we hope to be a part of it. August 13th is just a few short weeks away, and something tells me he's going to be on here before August 13th because something tells me he's going to have more news. We're going to see more developments, and Supersonic Sammy Blue very well may be responding and some to what we just heard here. So, my friend, basically, you definitely shattered the bombs. You basically gave us here a war zone filled of damage, a war zone filled here of news and notes, and certainly you brought it and some. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the future is for you. And I can't wait to see what the Hellhound brings, the Swarm brings. I can't wait to see what your brethren in the Swarm JPR brings next Tuesday. So I can't thank you enough for this opportunity, and very anxious to see what happens with you.
I'll be there on Tuesday, and it's been great being here.
I can't wait for that as we were here on the Sports Report, the #1 global sports show with pro wrestling star here, Dante Okara. And you can follow Dante Okara, DanteOkara.nshaw on Instagram. Also like his content, which you can see on the YouTube page of Nonstop Action Wrestling, also Facebook as well. And I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryson. We'll be back Wednesday night with Dustin Hart of CCW. Thursday night, we'll also be back with Slugger Hampton and the Lawman Kyle Kennedy, 8:30. Friday night, we'll also be back with Goliath to get into all things related to GTM and saw much, much more from the future of Goliath. So another busy week ahead here on Sportswire Radio. If you're on sportnarium.com/player, you'll get some brand new content later on here tonight. You'll get some shows that we'll play from our regular content that we play here on Sportswire Radio. And if you like what you hear from us on Facebook, you can follow us at Sportswire Radio. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I also want to thank Mark the Tank Ellens. I want to thank his management for sharing our show. And the Lawman Kyle Kennedy says, see you Thursday, Mr. Bryce. Yes, we will definitely see the Lawman. Looking forward to it. I have a feeling we'll bring you on right back after that before the 13th. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dante Okara. Dustin Hart also says, stay safe, stay cool. Yes, and in New York, we need it because we're getting the heat wave that you're getting here. So you're bringing us the heat here. You're literally bringing it to us figuratively in person. But thank you, everyone here, for watching and listening. I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager here of Sportsfire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce, and good night.